Hello and welcome to Creature Club. It's a weekly podcast all about the monsters of Dungeons and Dragons. We have entered our dragon saga. Last week we introduced dragons, and this week we will be covering the first of the true dragons, the black dragon, one of the chromatic dragon kind. I'm your host, Daniel, and I'm joined by Mikey.
Hello.
And Timothy Porter.
That's me over here.
How are you doing, boys?
Not so bad. That is Mikey's full name. His is Mikey, and I'm Timothy Porter.
Yeah, I know, that's fun. I'm just Mikey. I'm a bit like Prince.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
You missed my middle name. Do either of you know my middle name? This is unimportant.
I believe it starts with a...
Timothy James Porter?
Almost.
Jonathan?
Almost.
Jimbo?
That's the one.
And there it is.
That's it.
And there it is. Do you only have one middle name, Tim?
Yes, I didn't get a confirmation.
You didn't get confirmed? You didn't get an extra name just in case?
I did get confirmed. I just didn't get a name. We did the classes and everything, and they were like, yeah, this is going to be it. And they never said anything about confirmation names. And I asked, and they were like, nah, you don't really need one. So I was like,
I can't believe that.
Right,
They
cool.
cheated you. The whole reason you do a confirmation is so you have an extra name to barter with.
Exactly. I was going to say
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mine was going to be Tristan because I mean, it's not. I don't think it's the name of any saint, but it was the name of one of my favorite.
Big Yu-Gi-Oh fan.
No.
Yeah, obviously.
Not even the round table. He was one of my favorites, Tristan.
You loved his the duels he does with his.
I'm Tristan.
What the fuck deck did Tristan have? I honestly can't remember any of
He
his
didn't.
cards.
Did he have a
I was going to say
deck?
Flame Swords. I was going to say Flame Swordsman, but that's Joey.
No,
Yeah.
that's Joey. Who knows?
He definitely had a deck. Oh, it was like the Metal Lad. It was like RoboCop or something. It was some fucking. It was a Robot Knight or something.
He got the shite kicked through him, and then he never played again.
He got beat in like the first episode, and then he didn't really play unless prompted to.
Unless it was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
So
no one
welcome
else was
to
around play
Yu-Gi-Oh
card games.
podcast with Tim, Mikey, and Dan.
Yeah.
Oh boy, it's the pens all over again, guys.
Look, that was a great segment.
It was.
I'm glad we did that.
I'm very
I don't
happy with
regret
that.
it. I don't regret a damn thing. Yes, so I can't believe you don't have an extra name, Tim. I'm so sorry for your loss.
It's okay.
So this is the first, as I say, of the episodes all about dragons. As you can tell from that segment there, that was obviously incredibly relevant to dragons. We are starting off with the first of the chromatic dragons alphabetically, which is the black dragon.
Indeed.
How do we want to get started on this, boys? Tim, I believe you have some words prepared that you'd like to discuss.
Yes, I decided when we did the part one, the kind of intro to dragons, that I would go through a little bit of the history of all the worldly dragons, the mythology around these great reptiles. And so for this episode, I decided to dive just a little bit into the Japanese dragon, just because I found a black dragon in Japanese mythological history. Japanese dragons have a couple different words to represent dragon, which are kind of based around the different crossovers that they've had with various different languages, because the Japanese language has influence from Chinese, which is where Ryu comes from, or Ryu, and then there's Tatsu, which is from the Old Japanese. There's Naga, which comes from Sanskrit, which is the written language of Sri Lanka and parts of India. And then there's the Doragon, which is obviously from English. The Doragon is usually specifically saved for when they're referring to European dragons, as opposed to the classical kind of Chinese Asian dragons, which are the giant flying serpents. Now, kind of developing on that, the dragons of Japan and China were typically these large serpents, as I say, these large scaly serpents. They were mostly water deities found near Buddhist temples and Shinto shrines, just to kind of develop a sense of mystery and mythology around these great places of worship. They'd be protected by these dragons as to ward off any superstitious people back then, because superstitions were kind of the storytellers kind of thing. And I'm going to get into some of the stories about the Japanese dragons, which I found so many different varieties of. I basically had to find as many details that I could and kind of mishmash them together. So the kind of word of mouth has spread over here. So now I have my own version of specific stories in the Japanese dragon history lore. I found 2 dragons, which I kind of mashed together. Well, I didn't really mash them together. I kind of decided that these two would be ones.
You can't do that to dragons.
Mash these dragons together. So,
Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon.
I made the large dragon collider, and I combined 2 dragons.
So the 2 that I chose are kind of based around princesses. So there's the Kiyohime, which is the purity princess, which was a princess who fell in love with a Buddhist priest. She was the daughter of a lord, and this one specific Buddhist priest who had been going through his lands, called Anchin, stayed, and she fell in love with him. But he, being a Buddhist priest, didn't want the whole earthly attachments thing, and he was supposedly only being like really polite and very nice to her, and like gave her some gifts and like treated her quite well. But she fell in love with him, and then Anshin was like, whoops, I don't want this. So he kind of spurns her and kind of walks off and leaves her behind. So she, having been spurned by this Buddhist priest, decides to learn magic and learn how to turn herself into a dragon, and hunts him down and kills him. And
wow, there's so many steps between like you could just kill him as a person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's some serious rage going on, and it's a cool specific way that she does it. She goes to an ancient shrine where there's this enormous bell. I think it was just famous for this large bell, and so the priests of that temple tell him to hide in the bell, but she finds him, and then she crushes the bell and then burns it and kills him, and I think she also dies in the process. So it's just this mad,
just of unrelated, like just something else, just like heat stroke or something.
Yeah. But the specifically black dragon that I found from Japanese history was the Kurohime, which is Japanese for black princess. So the black princess Kurohime was the daughter of a local lord who fell in love with a samurai, and the samurai who wanted to marry this daughter, this Kurohime, he had to get through all these trials from her father, which were like he had to race him around around his castle like 7 times or something. There's like a bunch of different tests that he had to do. But like the Lord had like all these traps.
3, 2, 1, not it. Go.
No, like way worse than that. He said he'd come back to for the race, and so the king is like, lads, I'm a great horse rider, so if you guys hide a bunch of swords in the grass all around my castle and I know the route through them, I'll race him through them and I'll know the route and he'll get cut to shit. And so,
sir, can you just stab him?
Sir, could you just
it can't be
sir,
my fault.
I'm your assassin, I can just like have him killed at night, if that'd be easier than the sword plan.
You know, if D&D players thought up with this plan, it's like, what? Let's just attack him.
I'm just going to wait until he's out in the field and cast Fireball at 5th level. So he takes 12d6 fire damage. Does he resist it? No, he's just a guy on a horse. Okay, well, he's dead.
Oh, okay. So anyway, when this specific trial comes along, he starts failing and he starts getting cut up. So the king is like, haha, he's never going to get my wife's or my daughter's hand because... My wife.
Why did I find that funny?
So he turns into his true form, this great black dragon, who's then furious, and he wreaks havoc on the land and burns everything down, and he uses water and fire supposedly, which I'm not super sure how he did that. I think he caused it to rain for like some ridiculous amount, and so the princess sees all of this and sees the lands around her castle being swept away, and so she pleads with this great black dragon to save the people that are left and not to completely destroy the world. And so the dragon says that to spare her people and the people of the king, he has to take her as payment for their lives, essentially. And so she accepts, and he takes her away to the top of a mountain, which is now called Kurohime, which is the Black Princess Mountain, which is in the Nagato prefecture in Japan, which is super cool.
And Kurohige is black beard, because I know that from One Piece, and that just came to my head when you were saying that.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's also a manga and I think an anime called Kurohime, which is about a powerful witch lady who controls guns. Magical guns.
That sounds cool as hell. Why aren't we fucking playing that?
Yeah.
D&D sucks. Let's do this.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah, fun.
Yeah,
Fun
it was
little,
a cool little bit of history.
just a little bit of history, a little bit of dragon
A little bit of history.
stories. That's cool. I like that, Tim. Thank you so much for the dragon stories.
Thank you for telling us a story, Tim. It's interesting how the dragons in Japanese mythology often take a much more spiritual role. They're not like monsters in a traditional sense. Like they'll take human form, or they can be bargained with, or they have kind of a spiritual connection, like they're connected to Buddhism or shrines located in the world somewhere and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously very different to what we get in Dungeons and Dragons, where they're very kind of physical creatures, like they're creatures of the world, even though they have magic.
One of my thoughts was that, like, if this myth was based in some reality, I'd presume that the samurai just got mad and started burning the forests around it, and then he probably plotted with the princess, because the princess was in love with him. Then he basically took the princess away, and the princess was probably like, Dad, I'll confront the dragon. And then they just eloped together, but then they built this mythology around it, that this dragon had appeared and destroyed everything. It's fascinating.
I mean, like, if he was a samurai, he might have led a band of warriors. So he would basically just be a warlord who just
did his thing,
fought them and burned the village down, and then took their bride or whatever.
Yeah, good stuff. Anyway, black dragons. How are they in D&D?
So the black dragon is described in the first monster manual. It's very similar to the black dragon we know and love, or at least know of this day. I will tell you something cool though, that and this is true for I think all of the dragons in AD&D, it provides an alternative name for them, sort of a Latin-inspired name.
Okay, cool.
So the black dragon is Draco Causticus Sputum.
Ooh, that's a cool name.
So you could sort of use that terminology if you wanted to have sort of a scholarly vibe, where maybe a character, someone who's learned, has a more formal term to talk about dragons, you know, to distinguish them in some kind of etymological way or whatever.
It'd be a fun little bit of role playing, because you can be like, it's the Draco Caustic Sputum. Like, it's Black Dragon, man. Come on.
What? Yeah. You mean the black dragon?
You mean the Black Dragon?
Shut.
What are you talking about?
Will you ever shut up with your caustic sputum? Well, that's cool. I like that. That's very nice, kind of flavor-wise.
Yeah, I think so too.
I guess that kind of sounds like because when I hear Caustus Sputum, I'm thinking about spitting out acid.
Yeah,
I think that's the implication. Yeah, exactly.
And that segues into the black dragons. They are dragons. They are black, and their thing really is that they're kind of swamp dwellers, I guess. And each of the dragons have their own breath weapon, and the black dragon has an acid breath weapon, so it shoots out acid at you like xenomorphs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and the xenomorphs are black as
They
well.
don't spit out acid. That's just acid blood.
Yeah, I think that their saliva is as well. Is super acidic.
Yes.
I think both are. I think they're just dangerous. I think they're just bad news.
Just generally bad news.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of one of the themes of the movie Alien.
Just stay away from aliens.
Yes. They're just generally bad news.
Yeah.
So what makes the black dragon different from the other dragons, guys, other than, of course, the breath weapon and the color?
Anything in the annals of history before we jump into specifically why the black dragon is different?
In terms of how they're described in the previous books, it's a lot of what we see in the 5th edition book.
I see.
In the first edition AD&D book, it says the black dragon is typically found in miasmal swamps or marshes, although they also inhabit subterranean layers. For black dragons always seek to lair in deep, dark caves.
Yeah.
They tend towards the midpoint between law and chaos in their evil. And then it talks about their powers, which are basically the same as we see in 5th edition. So we get more specific details about sort of the nature of their evil. But even from kind of in the first book, we kind of get the suggestion that they are maybe neutral evil, although by the time 5th edition rolls around, they get promoted, I guess, to chaotic evil.
Whenever I read anything about black dragons, they tend to be the more like malicious and cruel of the dragons. Even though the chromatic ones are evil, these guys are like I always thought these guys are like the most evil, I guess. The kind of really just mean guys.
Yeah.
They're described as chaotic evil statistically, but I think the idea is that when it says they tend towards the midpoint between law and chaos in their evil, is that they aren't as chaotic as the demons that are described earlier in the book. I think it's supposed to give you a point of reference with other creatures in the monster manual.
Yeah.
Like, they aren't all about, like, destroying all of civilization. They kind of profit off it, basically. Like, they get their hordes from civilizations is destroyed.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So they're chaotic evil, but not in the same way that, like, the demons, they're sort of extraplanar chaotic entities are evil.
Yeah.
Just like big tobacco. Am I right, guys? Thank you.
Get
Here
him,
always.
get him, Mikey.
Nice.
Fucking get him. Slay them. Kick their ass, dude. Yeah,
Get him.
get him.
Are there any other weird varieties of Black Dragon in like 4th edition or 3rd edition or anything along those lines?
There are almost certainly specific kinds of dragons in different stories, but in terms of their specific powers, a lot of the time when they wanted to make dragons do cool things specifically, they would do it with magic, especially in earlier editions of the game. I could go and look that up, but I imagine it would be like, it's a dragon, but it can cast acid rain or whatever.
Wow.
But it does say in the 1st edition book that dragons can be spellcasters, which obviously we still see
Somewhat.
to this very day.
Do you guys want to read the book here about black dragons? Will we go into that?
I think so.
Or do we have anything else to say before that?
I think we can jump into it.
Black Dragon, the most evil-tempered and vile of the chromatic dragons. Black dragons collect the wreckage and treasure of fallen peoples. These dragons loathe seeing the weak prosper and revel in the collapse of humanoid kingdoms. They make their homes in fetid swamps and crumbling ruins where kingdoms once stood. With deep socketed eyes and broad nasal openings, a black dragon's face resembles a skull. Its curving, segmented horns are bone-colored near the base and darken to dead black at the tips. As a black dragon ages, the flesh around its horns and cheekbones deteriorates, as though eaten by acid, leaving thin layers of hide that enhance its skeletal appearance. A black dragon's head is marked by spikes and horns. Its tongue is flat with a forked tip, drooling slime whose acidic scent adds to the dragon's reek of rotting vegetation and foul water. When it hatches, a black dragon has glossy black scale. As it ages, its scales become thicker and duller, helping it blend into the marshes and blasted ruins that are its home.
Oh boy, that is a beautiful description for something so absolutely atrociously ugly.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
man.
love
very,
that.
very
That's
mean, Jim.
gorgeous.
But
It's
yes, it is.
No.
It's a very like nicely written piece there about the black dragon of just how
Positively gothic. It's incredible.
yeah, and just how
Yeah,
kind
that
of
should be.
how scary and mean these guys are, and just a great description of its appearance there.
That's gorgeous. I love that. I'm just geeking out over how well written that was. That was
Well,
amazing.
it loves you, Tim.
Some slightly awkward sentences in there, like that one that's a black dragon's head is marked by sparks and horns. Like it had described basically that all around the place, but that one line is kind of stood out to me as a bit random. But the rest of it is beautiful. I love that. I love how it's evoked the kind of skull thing, which is super metal and really gets across the idea of this thing being about death and destruction. It's so heavy metal. Brutal and cruel. All chromatic dragons are evil, but black dragons stand apart for their sadistic nature. A black dragon lives to watch its prey beg for mercy and will often offer the illusion of respite or escape before finishing off its enemies. A black dragon strikes at its weakest enemies first, ensuring a quick and brutal victory, which bolsters its ego as it terrifies its remaining foes. On the verge of defeat, a black dragon does anything it can to save itself, but it accepts death before allowing any other creature to claim mastery over it. Okay, so it kind of accepts its death, which I think is... Would that be unusual for dragons?
Depends on the kind of dragon. I think
Yeah.
the idea is that we're seeing that this dragon would rather die than acknowledge the creature is stronger than it. I think later on we'll see dragons who don't necessarily feel that way.
Yeah.
A difference of opinion, and you can use that to inform how you run your black dragon.
Yeah, like in its death throes, it'll possibly just like thrash like crazy or just keep fighting.
Yeah, cornered beast fights twice as hard sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I like it. Gives you a taste for the character that you're going to be playing when you're playing this great black dragon.
Foes and servants. Black dragons hate and fear other dragons. They spy on draconic rivals from afar, looking for opportunities to slay weaker dragons and avoid stronger ones. If a stronger dragon threatens it, a black dragon abandons its lair and seeks out new territory. Evil lizard folk venerate and serve black dragons, raiding humanoid settlements for treasure and food to give as tribute and building crude, draconic effigies along the borders of their dragon master's domain. A black dragon's malevolent influence might also cause the spontaneous creation of evil shambling mounds that seek out and slay good creatures approaching the dragon's lair. Kobolds infest the lairs of many black dragons like vermin. They become as cruel as their dark masters, often torturing and weakening captives with centipede bites and scorpion stings before delivering them to sate the dragon's hunger.
There's a bit in there that's very confusing. A black dragon's malevolent influence might also cause spontaneous creation of evil shambling mounds that seek out and slay good creatures approaching the dragon's lair. What the hell does that mean?
Shambling Mound is a monster.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like a gibbering mouther kind of thing?
It's sort of like a big bad plant, basically.
Weird.
Bad plant.
Yes. Exactly.
This summer.
Mikey.
Bad plant.
Yeah. So Shambling Mound is it's just a type of monster. It's not unlike the blights we covered before. A little different, but similar enough.
I wonder, are they in here?
Yeah, they are, but they're
Yeah.
not until S, so we haven't got to them yet.
So they are.
Black dragons are so powerful and evil that they can affect the area around them, and then that can affect the plants, and that can make evil plants. So I guess that's kind of what they're doing there.
That lends itself to the region effects that we'll be getting to later, I presume.
Yeah.
Cool.
Next, I shall read this one. Wealth of the Ancients. Black dragons hoard the treasures and magic items of crumbled empires and conquered kingdoms to remind themselves of their greatness. The more civilizations a dragon outlasts, the more entitled it feels to claim the wealth of current civilizations for itself.
Same.
I know that feel.
Hashtag relatable.
So it's as the dragon do. It likes to hoard some magical artifacts and gold and wealth, and this guy likes to do it from ancient kingdoms and civilizations. So that's his deal. Well, we don't got a whole lot of time here, so do you want to just go straight into the
Black Dragon's lair.
potatoes and
The stat block.
the meat?
Oh, you don't want to go into the lair or the regional effects?
No, we don't do that until that's kind of after the stat block.
All right,
That's
cool.
what we do normally.
Tim, how could you forget?
Ignore me, because I...
Have you not done an episode of Creature Club yet? So
Who am I?
Is this your first one?
What's going on here? Who am I? Who are you guys? Who am I talking to?
Tim.
You've lost me.
So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do dragons a little bit differently this time.
Yeah.
I suggest that we just go through the ancient black dragon,
Yes.
and then just go through that as a normal Creature Club stat block meat and potatoes section. And after that, we will real quick Cliff Notes versions of the adult, young, and wormlings, because we don't have time to do everything.
Because it is the same block, just with
Lesser.
less.
Yes.
So the ancient block will contain all of the parts of the lesser blocks. Obviously, they will be stronger.
Yes.
But we can assume that in a very fundamental sense, the abilities are the same. And also, it's actually true. If you just look, like, the DCs get higher or the attack bonuses get higher, but fundamentally the attacks don't actually change.
Entirely the same.
And because we kind of breeze through that, and for people at home who don't have a book in front of them, who don't have a monster manual at all, the dragons normally, they have an ancient form, a adult form, a young form, and a wormling form, like a little baby form. So as you know, ancient is the oldest and more powerful, and then it just goes down from there. So that's all you got now.
Yeah, in terms of how it works for sort of storytelling reasons, it describes briefly that a wormling is basically 5 years or less, a young dragon is between 6 and 100 years old, an adult is anywhere between 100 and 800, and any ancient dragon is at least 800 years old.
There you go.
And after that, you're laughing.
Exactly.
You're
You're on your way to the bank.
Yeah.
You probably are the bank at that stage.
Yeah.
Almost a millennia old.
Yeah,
Thinking about
basically.
hoarding the money as well. Cool.
block.
Do you guys want to just jump into stat block here? Do you want to?
Yep, all right. Put your
go
belts on, because this is the first Dragon stat block of Creature Club 2020.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Ancient Black Dragon, Gargantuan Dragon, Chaotic Evil. Armor class of 22, which is all natural, baby. Hit points 367, which is just feckin' 21. They're D20s. Their hit dice is a D20.
Good lord.
Making the barbarians jealous.
Guys, can I borrow your D20s there to do the health?
It's got to roll the
for
hell
this?
for the dragon. It's got a normal speed of 40 feet. It's got a fly of 80 and a swim of 40. So it's as fast in the water and on the ground, and it's twice as fast in the air.
Oh my goodness.
Its stats will make you jealous. It has 27 strength, 14 dexterity, 25 constitution, 16 intelligence, 15 wisdom, and 19 charisma.
Nice.
Saving throws, it has all the good saving throws, dex, con, and whiz, and charisma just thrown in there to show off. It's trained in perception and stealth, the two most important skills in the game, probably.
Yeah.
It's immune to acid damage, unsurprisingly. It has blind sight out to 60 feet, dark vision out to 120 feet, and a passive perception of 26.
Lordy.
So it is pretty hard to slip past this fella here.
Oh boy.
The Ancient Black Dragon speaks Common and Draconic, unsurprisingly, and it is a Challenge 21 monster, which means it's 27,500 experience points for you and your chums if you can take this bad dude down.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in my book it says it's 33,000 experience points.
What?
Yep.
What?
Different prints of the same book.
Yeah, different prints, I guess. Yeah.
I'm 27,500 as well. So
Wow. Interesting.
I guess.
I get the most
Maybe.
experience. So there
Hold
you
on.
go.
Did you get maybe? I don't know. I don't know which one's right. Leave a
Neither do
comment.
I. Yeah,
Whoever's
actually,
right.
do actually leave a comment. That we'd be really interested.
Yeah.
Some number of us have a printing error. Anyway,
Yeah.
I suspect it's probably myself and Mikey because I think Tim got a more recent Monster Manual.
Possibly.
I think so too. Yeah.
You famously have crasses on page 69. So
Yeah. In my.
Yeah.
In my player's handbook, there's two things about my player's handbook that's funny. The first one is you go to page 69 and instead of classes, it says crasses,
which is just hilarious, obviously.
Beautiful.
And the second funny thing is that was learned recently that if you just slightly open up my book and just like let it fall, it goes immediately.
Like rested on its spine.
Yeah, it goes immediately to fighter every time.
Because
Nice.
GC's such a fucking fighter nerd. He's always playing
Fighter
fighters.
boy. Hell yeah.
Fighter
Always
boy.
playing fighters.
He's a man who knows what he likes.
Fighter boy.
All right, next up. The amphibious. The dragon can breathe air and water, and then has legendary resistance 3 a day. We all know what this does. If it fails a saving throw, never mind. It can choose to succeed instead.
Hooray.
Hooray! Actions. Multi-attack. The dragon can use its frightful presence. It then makes 3 attacks, 1 with its bite and 2 with its claws.
Oh boy.
And we'll learn what those are now. It's all of the dragon's attacks are slightly different, which is actually something I think is super cool about them. So we'll cover them now. The bite is a melee attack, plus 15 to hit, reach 15 feet, 1 target. On hit, it deals 2d10 plus 8, plus 2d8 acid damage. So it's an average of 19 plus 9 damage.
28.
So only its bite does any acid damage. The claws are just slashing damage, but they have a reach of 10 feet, and it's 2d6 instead of 2d10. And then the tail is melee weapon attack, plus 15 to hit, same as before, but it's got a reach of 20 feet, so it's even longer than the claws or the bite.
Oh my.
And it deals 2d8 bludgeoning damage. Tim, are your dice different?
Nope. 2d8 plus 8, 2d10 plus 8. Yep. All the same.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just wondering there because you had the different experience points. Maybe they made it stronger.
Stronger.
Is it a different challenge rating, out of curiosity?
21.
Still 21, okay, curious.
Maybe we just did the math wrong in R1, I think.
Yeah, who knows? Okay, Frightful Presence. This is something any player who's fought a dragon will have experience with. It isn't, kind of, as we covered in our previous episode in the intro, this is basically a power dragons have had as long as they've been in D&D.
Right.
Even though it wasn't always called Frightful Presence, the notion that a dragon's mere presence can cause men to turn and flee, even hardened warriors, is just sort of part of their characteristics and makes them set apart from a lot of other monsters. So, Frightful Presence. Each creature of the dragon's choice that is within 120 feet of the dragon and aware of it. Man, sometimes rules text is just weird. Must succeed on a DC 19 wisdom saving throw or become frightened for 1 minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. If a creature saving throw is successful or the effect ends for it, the creature is immune to the dragon's frightful presence for the next 24 hours. So I don't know if that means when it says, I interpret it saying the creature is immune to the dragon's frightful presence for the next 24 hours as that specific dragon rather than all dragons.
The dragon. Yeah. Definite article.
I assume that's the intention. Yeah, because the dragon's singular ownership rather than the dragon's plural ownership.
Right.
Which would suggest all dragons' frightful presence ability.
The DC 19 wisdom saving throw is kind of funny. Does that mean that it has a proficiency bonus of +7?
Yes.
That's higher than you can get.
You can tell because of its saving throws.
Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Anyway, go on, Daniel.
There you go. Go on.
Go on, Dan. Go on.
Go on. Okay. Final action. Acid Breath. Recharge 5/6. We've covered recharges before. Very briefly. Start of the creature's turn, you roll a d6. If the result is either of the numbers, any of the numbers shown, they get the power back. Otherwise, it's still used up, and they don't get to use it again until they roll successfully.
Yes.
The dragon exhales acid in a 90-foot line that is 10 feet wide. Each creature in that line must make a DC 22 dexterity saving throw, taking 15d8 or on average 67 acid damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one.
Oh boy. And that's the same in mine as well, so
So nothing changes.
Changed.
Yeah, so this is just a big line of acid that just is bad and bad news for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Finally, the ancient black dragon has legendary actions. I'll explain legendary actions as well, I guess. We're only going to do this once, can we assume, because we're going to do all the dragons. They're all going to have the same rules. Okay, legendary actions. It says here, dragon can take 3 legendary actions, choosing from the options below. Only 1 legendary action can be used at a time, and only at the end of another creature's turn. The dragon regains spent legendary actions at the start of each of its turns. Okay, so then we have detect, which is the dragon makes a wisdom perception check. This is effectively the dragon making the search action described in the player's handbook. It's effectively looking for anyone who tried to hide from the dragon or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say no Bilbos going on there.
No Bilbo Bablos, yeah.
No Bilbos allowed because plus 16 to perception, and he just gets to do it as a legendary action. You can't really hide from this guy. It's hard to do
although
that.
you are invisible if you're wearing the ring. Although the dragons apparently have blind sight in 5e, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter, I guess, yeah.
Invisible just means that you have advantage on your stealth checks, doesn't it?
Yes, and creatures have disadvantage to find you, both.
Okay.
Tail attack. The dragon makes a tail attack, so that's just the tail attack described above. And then finally, wing attack costs 2 actions. The dragon beats its wings. Each creature within 15 feet of the dragon must succeed on a DC 23 dexterity saving throw, or take 2d6 plus 8, or an average of 15 bludgeoning damage, and be knocked prone. The dragon can then fly up to half its speed.
That's a pretty cool image of just like a dragon's like batting its wings and just flying straight into the air, Kind of a cool, fun image.
It also has the benefit of because it lets the creature move half its speed, it can allow the dragon to stand up from prone.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty kind of practical bit of design.
Quick with the tail attack, it reminds me of the last episode when I talked about the fourth edition. The fourth edition ancient dragons, or just any of the dragons, have this, like, if you attack with a melee attack, then it gets an instant at will tail attack counter
slap back.
Slap back. And this is like that because a legendary action can be a reaction if you have enough, but it doesn't happen all the time because you only have 3 legendary actions. But it could be like a throwback to that 4e dragon.
That sounds about right.
Yes. It does, yeah. No, I agree. It is similar.
It's pretty much a perfect echo of it.
The only difference is, like, I think you were saying, like, that one was like whenever you attacked and like missed, it got a free hit or whatever, and so the barbarian just kept getting slapped around. Or was it just whenever you attacked at all?
I think it's whenever you attacked. It was like an at
Fucking
will
hell, man.
of when someone attacks you.
Intense.
Mad.
Anytime I think of the tail attack of a dragon, I immediately see that scene from Dragonheart where he's trying to like slice Bowen with his tail. I love that movie. Sean Connery.
I've seen it.
As Draco. You haven't seen it?
I don't think so.
By Dagda, what are you doing?
Did I watch Dragonheart after this, guys? Screening, Creature Club screening.
Yeah,
3 of us.
So
live stream.
We
could live stream it on Twitch.
Anyone feel like getting demonetized?
Yeah.
We're gonna watch Dragonheart. Let's watch. So some notes on the Black Dragon stat block. The obvious one that's different from the rest of dragons is that this guy is amphibious. He can actually swim.
Yeah.
And can breathe under. He's the only dragon. I'm pretty sure the only dragon in this book that can swim underwater and breathe, and it's kind of a water-based dragon. So that's kind of it's going with the swamp kind of aesthetic, that it can submerge under the water, pop out every once in a while. It kind of can go anywhere in the swamp, really. So
there might be a metallic dragon that can swim, but I actually cannot remember.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm going through right now. You guys talk though.
I think the green one has it as well, but I haven't seen anything since then. I think it's just the black and the green. Because the green.
I feel like metallic dragons would rust if they go in the water. That's the thing. Oh no, bronze dragon. Never mind.
Gold does not rust.
Wait,
that's actually, I guess that's true of gold, as a material.
Of real world.
Hold on,
gold.
it's just the wormling, the bronze dragon wormling that is amphibious.
Ancient bronze dragon, amphibious. Or maybe my book has added amphibious to a couple different stat blocks, because I'm seeing a couple of them. Like the green one has it in mine, and the bronze one has it as well.
It seems like they forgot a couple ones in here.
Interesting.
Cool. So there's a few. Okay, there's a few of them, but in my
depending on which monster man you will have, there's some number.
No, here we go. Bronze dragon, amphibious. The main one does have it. Cool. All right. So there's a bunch of dragons that have amphibious, but this is the first one. Okay.
Yeah, I suppose it's more thematic for. They probably reserved it for dragons that it would be more thematic for them to be able to breathe water.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Because like in my earlier mention for the Japanese dragons were mostly water based, so maybe that's kind of harkening back to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also Celtic dragons, but I'm not going to reveal my research that I've done into that yet.
Fair enough.
Stay tuned for another episode.
I don't even know if we should talk about like dragon stat blocks to be like, because they're all, similar, and I don't know if we should save our kind of big feedback for, I don't know, some sort of big climactic episode.
Yeah.
I think if I were to say anything about the dragons, I like the fact that all of its abilities get used at different times. Its multi-attack uses its bite and its claw. Its legendary action uses its tail. Its multi-attack also uses its frightful presence optionally. And then its acid breath is on a recharge and is sort of independent.
And its wing attack can only be used as a legendary action.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So yeah, I don't know, I like that there's lots of different parts to it. And then obviously, other than that, it's just a big pile of flying hit points.
That's basically it.
That's that's it. I don't know what you want from me. I do honestly think that the line breadths overall, because I know that there's obviously cones and lines, is how all the breath weapons are broken down. And this is probably something that's more relevant for the younger black dragons. I do feel like the lines in general are harder to like use than the cones, because obviously cones are so generous with how 5e works. Yeah. Because they're as tall as they are wide, so they just hit everyone. Yeah. But lines are totally different and much harder to like use effectively as a result.
I think that's probably getting the kind of idea that like it says that these dragons tend to like to be in caves as well as swamps. So if you're in a cave, there's not much point in having like a cone breath. Whereas if you're in a cave, you could get like they have. I saw a meme recently about that. They have a Dave Grohl, and it's Dave Grohl coming through.
Yeah, I saw that. They have a Dave Grohl.
But yeah, well, I think it would also work in the swamps, because if I was to like build something around the black dragon for the regional effects,
Are you doing
what
in my swamp?
Damn it, Daniel. Fuck's sake.
Do you guys remember in the scene in Lord of the Rings where Sam is like, "Here, Mr. Frodo, just a few drops left of water." And then
he fucking ice bucket challenges all over his own face. Yeah.
It's my favorite part. I love it.
Yeah. For fuck's sake. Go on, Sam. What are you doing? But I think that his like the line breath would also work in like a swamp area, because for me, I would imagine that there are impassable areas in a swamp that like cause you to either be completely slowed down or that are deadly to stand in because you're in this acid dragon's area. So you have to be on these little strips of land or on these little islands, and the dragon can move virtually freely through them. So I think the line kind of works if you were to work with it. If you fight him in an open field, it's a little more awkward to hit, but I think that it makes a bit of sense for the old black dragon.
Yeah.
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 Will we do the layer and regional effects, layer actions and regional effects?
Let's.
Yes, I think we should.
Okay.
A black dragon's lair. Black dragons dwell in swamps, on the frayed edges of civilization. A black dragon's lair is a dismal cave, grotto, or ruin that is at least partially flooded, providing pools where the dragon rests, and where its victims can ferment.
Ugh.
The lair is littered with the acid-pitted bones of previous victims, and the fly-ridden carcasses of fresh kills, watched over by crumbling statues. Centipedes, scorpions, and snakes infest the lair, which is filled with the stench of death and decay.
Metal.
Why did it have to be snakes?
I have a couple centipedes in my game that I'm running.
I thought you were going to say in your apartment.
I have a few snakes in here.
Got a couple snakes, you know. Scorpions galore, lads. Come on.
Yeah. They call me the Scorpion Man.
That's me.
Do they? Fucking hell.
Jesus.
That's my nickname, guys. Here comes the Scorpion King.
You got upgraded from Scorpion Man to Scorpion King.
That was quick.
Yeah. Mikey, that's already a thing. You can't call yourself the Scorpion King.
No, it's canon. I said it in game, so it's canon.
No, I'm the Scorpion King now.
I'm the Scorpion King. And then Mr. The Rock Johnson shows up. And he has
a CG version of The Rock comes in and beats me up.
And he's really weird looking, and it's not pleasant.
Layer actions. On initiative count 20, losing initiative ties, the dragon takes a layer action to cause one of the following effects. The dragon can't use the same effect 2 rounds in a row. Pools of water that the dragon can see within 120 feet of it surge outward in a grasping tide. Any creature on the ground within 20 feet of such a pool must succeed on a DC 15 saving throw, or be pulled up to 20 feet into the water and knocked prone. Next is a cloud of swarming insects fills a 20-foot radius sphere centered on a point the dragon chooses within 120 feet of it. The cloud spreads around corners and remains until the dragon dismisses it as an action. Stop giggling in class.
Sorry.
What are you laughing about, Dan? What's so funny?
What are you laughing about?
I always love whenever it talks about things spreading around corners. There's something so deeply mechanical about it that always, like, it always breaks the flow of like, oh, it summons a cloud of like flies because it's like super evil, and you're like, oh no, and then it's like the cloud goes around corners, you're like, like like it's just like it's like
Fireball does that too, where
I know,
gives
like
pitch you hopping like the other side of a wall, like, ha, I'm safe. Oh no.
oh no, it goes around corners. Like, I don't know, it's funny, like it's one of those things that I always think is so interesting that like at some stage very early in 5e's design, someone made a rule that was, if an area goes around corners, you have to tell them in rules text. So like that's the reason, like, you have like, you know, the player's handbook, it specifies fireball goes around corners, and then here it specifies this goes around corners. I know, I find it so interesting. Like we're really early playtesters obsessed with using corners to avoid things. Like, is there some reason this came up? Like you know, it's just so interesting. Like, it's so weird and specific to be like, you know, like, does the cloud of swarming insects ignore me if I'm a druid because I have a connection with nature? Doesn't get mentioned. It goes around corners though. So if your druid is trying to like time crisis rules fight the dragon, like, you know, with like cover or whatever, like it goes around. Exactly. Like, it's just fascinating. Like because when they specify that a cloud goes around corners, that specifies that like everything else you could assume about it isn't true, right? Like every rule they don't say is therefore like not true, because this is the one thing they choose to specify. I think it's so interesting.
Your mind is it's something else, Dan. I just love that. It's phenomenal.
I have a very deep sickness. I agree.
My mind is an enigma.
The cloud is lightly obscured. Any creature in the cloud, when it appears, must make on a DC 15. I think my one is the old one.
Say that.
Oh my god!
Must make
yours
on
doesn't.
a DC.
Must make on.
Does it
you
yours
must
say
make
that?
on, heroes?
Peasant, you must just maketh on a DC 15 Constitution saving throwing
That's
it.
so funny.
Does your guys'
You
one
must
say that
make
as well?
on.
It does say that too.
Oh
for
my
us,
God.
Yeah, it says
Wow.
that for me, yeah.
Any
They kept
creature
that on.
in the cloud must
On.
any creature
It says
in the
it there,
cloud
Tim.
when it
The rules
appears
text
must
is very
make
clear.
on a DC 15 Constitution saving throw, taking 10 a 3d6 piercing damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. A creature that ends its turn in the cloud takes 10 a 3d6 piercing damage. Oh boy.
Okay, we got a bit giggly there. What was going on with that one there?
Okay, so it creates a 20-foot radius sphere cloud of flies.
Within 120 feet of it.
Okay.
A point the dragon chooses, which means the dragon does not need to be able to see where it is creating a cloud of insects, because it doesn't specify that.
Yeah. Presumably it knows its own lair.
Yeah, we can assume as much.
Yeah.
Anyone in the cloud, when it shows up, makes a DC 15 con saving throw. If they fail, they take 3d6 piercing damage. If they pass, they take half as much. And then regardless of whether or not you've rolled that save, any creature ending its turn in the cloud always takes 3d6 piercing damage. No
And
save.
do remember, it
goes
does go
around
around
Goes
corners.
around corners.
Very
yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Do not forget.
Very important.
Mm-hmm.
That's written down. That's cool though. Yeah, I like
Yep.
that. Next.
Last one, Magical Darkness. Magical Darkness spreads from a point the dragon chooses within 60 feet of it, filling a 15-foot radius sphere until the dragon dismisses it as an action. Whoa. Uses this lair action again, or dies. The darkness spreads around corners. There you go.
Thank you.
A creature
Thanks.
with dark
I was
vision
curious about that.
can't see through this darkness, and non-magical light can't illuminate it. Oh, usually magical light can't illuminate darkness anyway. Anyway, if any of the effect's area overlaps with an area of light created with a spell of second level or lower, the spell that created the light is dispelled.
Yeah.
It's not a high power level.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you have the light spell or the light cantrip, cast on something,
Yeah.
this will turn that off. But the daylight spell,
Daylight
which is
spell.
third level,
Yeah.
will be like, nah, I'm too strong.
Or moonlight, I think, as well. Is moonlight one of them?
You mean Moonbeam?
Yeah.
Moonbeam.
There's sunlight, I think, which is 6th level, and that's actual sunlight and kills vampires.
Cool.
Ooh, cool. Dancing lights, that's a cantrip, is it?
That's another cantrip, so that's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if the effects of fairy fire qualify as magical light for the purposes of this spell.
Yeah.
That might be up to your DM's discretion. But what isn't up to your DM's discretion is that this goes around corners. It's very important.
It's extremely important.
It is interesting to think that if you cast a light spell, and because light probably says that it goes around corners, and this encounters this darkness spell that also goes around corners, you're fucked. Like, the darkness gets you.
It just gets you.
If your one strategy for defending yourself is to go around a corner, you're fucked.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing.
Hard countered. Your corner build is hard countered by this layer action
Corner build.
My character's a corner build.
I'm a hand crossbow rogue. I play like I'm playing Time Crisis, you know?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Although you did play
Ready?
a character, Dan, who played a Time Crisis build where you're
I did.
one
I
of
played
the first
an artificer
artificers.
with a thunder cannon. And so I just went, reload every turn.
That's Dino Crisis. That reload is Dino Crisis.
Sorry, reload is Dino Crisis. But
Come
in
on,
fairness,
man.
we did fight 2 T-Rexes at the end of that, so that's actually more
That's
accurate.
true. It was
Jesus.
Dino Crisis.
Reload.
Oh boy.
Action.
Phenomenal.
Get
Action.
ready.
Ready?
Machine gun.
Action.
Mission start.
Time Crisis is great, guys.
It is.
Actually is. So, did I ever tell you guys about when I went to an arcade and there was like a man in his 50s playing Time Crisis, and he was playing it by holding the light gun right up against the screen so he couldn't miss. And I was like, fucking, this man has strats. He knows what he's up to. Like, he's not going to risk missing. He's just going to, like, it's the same as putting the gun against the lad's temple. It's like, I've got you now.
He definitely like had a like high score on there already.
Oh yeah.
And then he saw that his name got taken off. He's like, nope, I have a bit of money here. I'm getting that back on there, one way or other.
He is AAA on every single leaderboard ever.
Yeah. Our
He
poo
didn't
and
know how to
ass
type his
taken.
name in.
Okay, so next is the regional effects, which are how the lair and the monster affects the world or the area around its lair.
Yes.
So, in this regard, the region containing legendary black dragon's lair is warped by the dragon's magic, which creates one or more of the following effects. The land within 6 miles of the lair takes twice as long as normal to traverse, since the plants grow thick and twisted, and swamps are thick with reeking mud. That's pretty cool.
I hope everyone's got their table of overland travel speeds handy because it's doubled in this region.
Or get your machetes ready and do like a
machete build turns on.
like a jungle adventure machete build turns on. Or just get like a berserker barbarian who can do that feat where where they just run.
Oh yeah.
And they don't stop
And
if it's difficult terrain. So just keep running towards that black dragon's lair, and then you're fine. Free running. All right, number 2. Water sources within 1 mile of the lair are supernaturally fouled. Enemies of the dragons that drink such water regurgitate it within minutes. So that's pretty bad for the survival element of the game. So if you're trying to get to this dragon, you're taking a while to get there, and if you don't have water stocked up, you're fucked. Yeah, you need water,
just
lads.
like real life.
For those survival games where you're keeping track of how long your party has been walking and how hydrated they are.
How much water do you guys have? I think I have a first level spell that can create like 17 gallons of water. How much water do you have though? I'll just make water. Okay.
Oh, I forgot to drink water for the last 2 days. All right.
I guess I'm dead.
You died. Yes.
I forgot to eat, drink water, and go to the bathroom for the last 2
lads,
days.
I
All
forgot
right.
to specifically say I sleep, so I don't have any spells.
Oh shit.
Cool.
Cool.
Number 3.
Thanks, DM. Great game. I guess we'll go home.
What a great game, guys.
What a great game.
What a great story. I just think that you eat on the off time because, you don't, in movies, you don't see them eat all the time or use the bathroom.
Like, there's not really an extended scene in like Lord of the Rings where like Boromir is just taking a big dump. He's like, guys, you have to wait. I need to poo.
Are you sure? Are you very
about
sure?
that?
I'm very sure.
I'm pretty sure that's in the extended edition. The super
there's
extended
clips
edition.
of Sean Bean going to the bathroom, but those aren't from the movie.
Yeah. Okay. Number 3, fog.
Yeah.
Fog lightly obscures the land within 6 miles of the lair. So it's foggy.
Yeah,
There's
foggy.
that too. They just don't want you to go through this swampy, jungly place right now. If the dragon dies, vegetation remains as it has grown, but other effects fade over 1d10 days. So the plants stay, but the effects, they wear out after a while because the magic is not the same anymore.
Yeah. So we can assume that
not
the first effect, that the land is more difficult to traverse, will presumably stay indefinitely or until it's dealt with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fog and the water will purify, which is interesting in some ways. You could use that notion that the land is twice as difficult to traverse. You could use that as a way of establishing that somewhere used to be the lair of a black dragon. Maybe as like a seed to an adventure where you can later on find the lair and find maybe clues about where this dragon went or what happened here.
Now it's just full of bullywugs.
Yeah. There's
Thanks, Tim.
that was
You
good.
want
I
to do
like
that again?
Anytime.
Do
Thanks.
you want? Can you do that again?
That's good. I really like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Can I get 2 blalas with one after he's just been hit and one just normal? Sure.
Tim, can you hear me? I need you to do another blah blah, blah but a little bit more, just a bit more gut.
Okay.
Just Can you do one like you've just come home from work and you find the bullywug has found its partner in bed with another person. So something like that kind of emotion. Can you capture
Sure,
it in
of course.
something like that? Yeah, thank you. No,
What?
What's your wife's name?
This is why. This is why it's pretty sad that we're doing this in a podcast in audio only format, because I actually did hold down my finger like I was in a recording booth talking to Tim there. So just holding down the button
Yeah.
on the other side of the window.
Yeah, an experience I hope to have in the
Fantastic
future.
stuff.
I would love to be a voice actor, but maybe with this
Keep
performance.
that shit up. Who knows?
Yeah,
fucking good, man.
throw some blood at us.
Yeah.
If there's any voice directors out there looking for a bullywug or some sort of frog creature,
man.
There you
Yeah.
go. It's all
some sort of frog man.
Some sort of frog person. We've just
We
given
haven't-
you a lead. You can be like that kid in
there you go.
Back to the Future. We're like, you like fucking frog noises. You love this, and you can hold your phone up to the speaker.
I'm pretty sure Back to the Future doesn't say you like fucking frog noises.
I don't think they're allowed cuss in Back to the Future. I think they'd
All right,
probably
guys, remember, no cussing. All right, no cussing allowed
I
in
know
this
it's
film.
hard. But stop cussing out
do you?
during the filming because, again, we are aiming for like a PG rating.
Do you guys remember
boy.
Back to the Future when the kid comes around and says, "You like fucking frog people,
Johnny
guys?"
smokes there.
Yeah, I need a cigarette.
Oh boy.
Yeah, like a child, like what a child would sound like.
Exactly like a child would sound like.
So, do you want to talk about the other black dragons in brief?
I think we could talk about other black dragons and then go through real quick of how we would use black dragons specifically,
Yeah,
and then might leave it at that.
Yeah,
and then we can go in later about dragons fully, of how we would love to use them in like later episodes.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover, but I don't think it'll take that long to cover the dragons. Starting with the adult black dragon. The adult black dragon is effectively all of the powers we get from the ancient black dragon, but toned down. The challenge rating has reduced by 7, so it is now challenge 14. Tim, what's the experience count on yours, out of curiosity?
11,500.
Oh, same here. Okay, I don't know. It must just be the ancient one, maybe, as
I think it is.
as you said, Ricky.
I think there is a specific lineup for the amount of XP you get up to challenge rating 20 based in the player's handbook, but maybe beyond 20 they just didn't have any scale to go by, so they've just been toying with it for various versions.
I think they just did the math wrong, maybe.
It probably
didn't
is
realize
that
it.
simple, yeah. Anyway, so yes. So challenge 14 instead, a lot of the core abilities are the same. They've still got the same training, the same senses, the same saving throws. They've still got legendary resistance. They've still got 5-foot presence and acid breath. And they've still got legendary action. So they are, in every way, the ancient black dragon, just everything leveled down so you can put them against a lower level party. And that's basically it.
Yep. Substantially less HP.
Yes, sorry, 195, so 170 less hit points approximately,
170 odd.
Yeah.
which is obviously significant.
And it's smaller. It's
Yes.
one size smaller.
Apologies, yes, it's huge instead of gargantuan. So next up we have the young black dragon. So the young black dragon is where we start to see a real drop off. The young black dragon is large, so it's the same size as, say, a horse. Still has the same saving throws, skills, and senses. Still immune to acid. Same speeds in everything. Again, a little less health. Lower armor class as well. and this is for a Challenge 7 party. And this dragon doesn't have Frightful Presence and doesn't have any legendary actions.
No.
So this dragon is almost in some ways maybe not even a boss.
Yeah.
In the same way that previous monsters are, because this creature only gets one action per round, and obviously legendary actions are a way to try and mitigate that. But of course, a young black dragon in Slayer still gets an extra action at initiative count 20, which kind of balances it out slightly.
Yeah.
And finally, we have the Wormling. So the Wormling is medium, so this creature is actually the same size as the rest of the party. Again, lower armor, much lower health, only 33 health, so very, very little. This is only a challenge 2 monster, so I mean this has as much health as a level 3 or 4 PC.
Yeah.
Speeds have reduced very slightly, but they're still very fast flyers. And then the Wormling only has the bite and the acid breath. They don't have any claw abilities. Oh, and the young black dragon actually loses its tail swipe.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't matter because it doesn't have the legendary action to use the tail swipe, so it would never have a reason to use it.
Yeah.
And also the Wormling only speaks Draconic.
That's what I was going to go for too.
Yeah. Me and Tim are on the same page here.
It hasn't learned common yet.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's a baby.
It's only a
Although
wee babby.
it does still have its blind side, which I think is kind of surprising. I suppose that's more a comment on this is just an inherent dragon thing. It's not something it develops as it grows.
I think in the context of dragons, blind sight is meant to represent the superiority of their ears and nose to detect things even their eyes can't see.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why it extends as they get older, because obviously their nose gets bigger. So they can smell more.
Bigger nose.
Exactly.
The nose.
The nose. So those are all the different dragons. So what's next?
First of all, let's play that music. What great music.
Beautiful.
I really liked that music.
I love human music.
I really like music, guys. Music is...
I really want to make...
Music sure is something.
I really want to make a really terrible MIDI version of Through the Fire and the Flames for this with Dragon Force.
So far away. And I get stopped there unless we get copyright claimed.
Yes, indeed.
Because I sound exactly like Dragon Force.
You do.
Yeah.
They would.
Mr. Dragon Force,
Yeah.
that's his name, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Dragon Force.
That's what Mikey's called. Yeah.
Man. And also, we're doing dragons and we're covering the entire force of them. So,
Yeah.
sorry, what are we
Coming in
doing now?
force.
We are a real quick version of our dessert time, I guess, for this one.
Yeah.
Guys, black dragons. How would you like to use a black dragon in specific a black dragon in your campaign?
Daniel, would you like to take the reins?
Sure. So I used I think it was a young black dragon in a campaign I ran where Tim was one of the players.
Oh.
The campaign was called Herald of the Red Hand, and it was sort of a precursor adventure to the 3.5 adventure called Red Hand of Doom, which is a fantastic adventure. If you could find it, I'd really recommend it. I think you can find it on Drive-Thru RPG or DM's Guild or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's very cool. I like it a lot as an
It's
adventure
up in the places.
for a bunch of reasons, but I won't get into it now. But anyway,
I would love to keep playing that one. I missed it.
it was really good. I'd love to jump back into it when you come to visit.
Yay.
But yeah, so sorry. So the adventure needs you to be about, I think, 5th or 6th level is what they recommend. So I thought, well, obviously the party, I'm going to run a game for a number of newer players. So I'm not going to start them off at 5th or 6th level. Instead, I'm going to have them kind of play an adventure that feeds into the game. And I'm going to set up kind of hooks of like the characters from that adventure getting involved. And one of the themes of that adventure is that it's all kind of a cult of Tiamat and stuff like that. So I had a black dragon who was kind of being recruited into the Red Hand of Doom while the players were there, but sort of wasn't fully in yet. So it was kind of like they were stepping into the adventure, but they weren't there yet. I'm going to look for my notes now and find the name of this black dragon. But I used a lot of the information that's provided in the 5th edition book. So I set the black dragon lived in a waterfall, under a waterfall, surrounded by swamplands. They had a cult of lizard folk who worshipped them and provided them with tribute and raided nearby human settlements to provide that tribute.
Okay.
So, here we go, yeah. Arathrax the Black Prince is what I called them.
I'm getting flashbacks.
So what I had happen was that basically the lizard folk performed a ritual because the party killed a creature called an Otyug, which is kind of a big tentacle garbage monster. And basically they took the corpse of the Otyug and the lizard folk combined it with the Black Prince. So they kind of created like a weird aberrant telepathic tentacle dragon.
Freaky.
who ran this cult. So that was my experience running a black dragon. The last thing that happened in that adventure before we had to wrap up was you guys did kill Arathrax. You actually went to his lair, hunted him down, and then fought him amongst the piles of acid-ridden treasure. You did a pretty good job. I think you all survived, so that's the main thing.
Man, cool.
But yeah, no, I found black dragons, like, obviously it could have been any kind of dragon, but I kind of liked them for basically because of the fact that it specifically calls out their relationship with lizard folk, and I wanted to use lizard folk. And so that was a nice 1-2 punch where you can kind of set up for very low level parties, you can set up the lizard folk cult, and lizard folk are a low enough challenge that the party can fight them right away. And then eventually, if they kind of, work their way up the ranks, a bit like hit game Crackdown, where eventually if you take out enough of the sort of underbosses, you get to fight the big boss. So in this case, that would be kind of fighting the different parts of the lizard cult, and then eventually actually confronting the black dragon itself.
Second time referencing Crackdown in a Creature Club episode.
Yeah, it's because it's a great game.
Not just a game to play the Halo 3 beta, guys. Not just a game.
Not just a game for the Halo 3 beta, but like also Halo 3 beta was pretty good. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Halo 3 was pretty good in
That's
general.
True.
I have a one shot written that is kind of in my one shot like ammo belt, I guess.
Yeah.
For like a underwater adventure, or kind of like it's kind of based around like a lost underwater city, like an Atlantis kind of city. So the party have to go down there to get some treasure or whatever. I didn't really go too much into that, but go underwater, get the treasure, high adventure and all that stuff. But the main baddie I had planned for it was a black dragon who also wanted to search for that treasure, and he would just swim down there with it. So it was kind of like, I was either thinking of like a race to get the treasure, or just he would be down there already with the treasure and he'd just be the baddie at the end of it. But that was just a quick little, I was thinking more in the sea instead of like in the swamp, because the dragon's like, oh, I can go underwater, so I'm just gonna
I can
fly
swim.
over into the ocean, because I can swim, I can get that treasure, I can do that, like, because this dragon probably heard of this underwater lost city, so, and because they like the ancient civilizations and the treasures, they're like, oh, I should be the first guy to get that one, and then they do that. So
very cool.
And that's really it. It was just a quick little one shot I wanted to do, but it's there in my one shot
holster
ammos. Now it's kind of put into the ether, so it's not really now you guys know about it, but I'll save it for another party then, I guess.
I mean, that's what this show's about, sharing your cool ideas with each other.
You guys can use it at home too.
Yeah, break it out at home, show your friends. So for me,
take it back now, y'all.
2 hops this time.
1 hop this time. 347 hops this time.
Everybody clap your hands. Everybody eat some grass.
For me, I would probably kind of work these guys into the kind of the lore of the world, because that's the kind of world that I play. I don't think I'd go for the like one-shot stuff, because I'm not very good at doing one-shots. Last time I did it, I tried to do a one-shot. I just ended up killing everybody, and it wasn't a good time.
That sounds like a great time.
That's what you do in one-shots, though. That's one-shots.
That sounds fantastic.
Oh yeah, that is a
Everyone
one-shot.
makes these.
Yeah.
Oh, I made this roller skating clown wizard, and then like, no, he's dead. I'm killing him.
Don't worry,
That's a one-shot character.
I made a wizard with -5 constitution. He's dead. It's a one-shot. So I think that I would kind of develop him outside of his lair. Like, I probably have like a survivor of his kind of torture just arrive back in town and warn the village that the characters are in. Like, he will have been like burnt and stuff, and he'll probably warn them, and then the party will go on their gallivanting little adventure into this region. And although the guy who survived all the torture and the cruelty that this black dragon gave to him will lead them on the trail that he found through the region, and reminds everybody to like work with him to basically get around the kind of regional effects, which, you know, kind of downplays the regional effects a little bit. But I don't know, I think I'd probably just play them vanilla as the book, because I can't really think of much that would involve everything that would be as kind of homebrewy as I would like it to be.
Well, what do you like about Black Dragons? What's your favorite thing about what you read so far about them?
Probably their specific.
What's your favorite aspect?
The cruelty bit, I think, kind of stands out to me, and then there's also the like the malevolent influence causing these shambling mounds to arrive. That seems pretty cool.
Okay.
And then their specific servants, the kobolds, and as I said earlier, our blah, 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 friends, the bullywugs.
Bullywug friends. So you like the idea of it being a big bad with some servants, some goons that you can fight as well, some shambling mounds, some kobolds, and some
bullywugs. Basically, I think I would just kind of play him with the idea that like he's just this cruel master, and maybe his servants and stuff like are afraid of him, and maybe you can turn them on the black dragon just because they're only serving him out of fear. Maybe he like lands in a swamp where there's already all of these bullywugs and things. He takes over, and then maybe you can do a little bit of a diplomacy thing and help the bullywugs rise up against this big black dragon.
And before we get a cheeky comment from Stephen Brady, yes, we know we kind of did this in Horde the Dragon Queen. We know it was kind of that happened, so don't worry, we didn't forget this time.
Yes.
All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to be so.
Thank you. Thank you for being so inspiring. You inspire my
thank you very much.
Ideas.
You're a very good
He's
DM.
a great DM, and he's a good man for his memes.
He is. Meme master, DM. No, sorry. I was going to say meme master, DM master. Like, there already is a master in DM.
Master of the
DM
Dungeon Masters. Like, that's very close to
mastermind.
becoming an actual sex thing.
You know, like there's like he's a man's man. He's a DM's DM. You know, he's a master's master. Quick little brief idea.
Yeah, you just want to use black dragons just the way they are in that, and that's cool because dragons are great villains. So go for it.
I will say, just on that vein there, you mentioned the cruelty in capturing prisoners and stuff like that. Tim, there's actually there's a very small hook here in the Monstrous Manual, which is the 2nd edition monster manual. It says here at the very end of the habitat and society section of the black dragon, black dragons are especially fond of coins. Older black dragons sometimes capture and question humans before killing them to find out where stockpiles of gold, silver, and platinum coins are kept.
Ooh, fascinating.
You could set up a hook where like some maybe like retired pirate captain knows where all his treasure is buried, and now this black dragon is going after him, and so maybe he hires the party to keep him safe. Maybe then the party can like try and race the dragon to the treasure or something like that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or
Pirates and dragons. That's cool.
There's an old nerd coin collector boy in town, and suddenly he's in high demand from like these mercenaries or by these monstrous group that are coming into town who are like, give us the coin, man. There you go. Perfect. Set up. That's a whole setting right there. I did
That's the name of the campaign. Give us the coin, man. That's all you got. That's all you got to know about the
coin,
campaign.
Man. Yeah.
No, is it? No, yeah, but it's like, give us
I'm
the
the
coin,
coin
man.
I just like the idea that like, you know, your players are like, so what else is in town? You're like, nothing, just the coin, man. They're like, just
It's just one house.
How is it a town?
Is it a town? Yeah.
Yes, but none of the buildings.
How does it work?
Yes.
Everyone revolves around the coin,
It's all
man.
about the coin, man.
Are we done shiting on?
Yeah, I think so. I think we reached a good time there. We're almost feature length here, so
Yeah.
Okay, if you've enjoyed this and you are not a subscriber, you could subscribe to us on whatever platform it is you listen to podcasts. If you are already subscribed or have just started listening, you could rate and review us whatever you're using. I'd like, you know, like it's 2020. I don't know how people access podcasts anymore. I assume if you scream loud enough, they just arrive because of Amazon or something.
Yeah.
So you can do that. You can also contact us more directly instead of screaming into the air, but do you. I mean, you know, the year is not always easy. So you can contact us through email at creatureclubpodcast@gmail.com. The easiest way to ask us, say, short questions or complain about how we've misrepresented dragons, or just tell us stuff. Just be like, actually, black dragons are really bad at coins because of these reasons. You can probably just go on Twitter because we're often on Twitter, and that's at Creature Club Pod.
At Creature Club Pod.
If you have things to send us, we like doing homebrew stuff. We've done 2 homebrew episodes on monsters, but we'll also cover other homebrew content if it is provided. Easiest way to send us that is either through the contact us form on our website, which is creatureclubpodcast.com, or just email it to us with the email address I mentioned before. I think that's everything.
And if you like the show and if you are comfortable with it, tell a friend, and who also likes D&D and who also likes DMing. That's always the best way to spread the word about a show like this.
all that other stuff is like probably less important than like if you like it and you think someone else would like it, just tell them. And if they're like that podcast was bad, then we're sorry. Like we're sorry.
We're very sorry about
that's
that.
not an easy thing to do. And
I get so uncomfortable showing like my friends things I've watched, and then I just cannot picture doing with me as the person in that show. So I can't even picture that.
We are very lucky in that a lot of our friends choose to listen to this podcast, but I would never ask them to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
Like I ran a 10-hour game just because we had an entire full day that everybody was free, and at the end of it I was like, yeah, I have to edit my podcast, and everyone was like, oh, you're in a podcast, what is it? Like, I'm actually on Creature Club, it's a monster D&D podcast, and they were like, Tim, you host a D&D podcast about D&D monsters and you didn't tell us. And I'm like, yeah, well,
exactly
I didn't want to.
You're like, I don't want to. I can't do it, man.
So fucking awkward.
I can't self-promote on any.
Yeah.
So if you could do that for us, thank you very much.
Yeah, we'd appreciate that.
Yes, that'd be great. If you guys can tell Tim's friends, that would be great.
But speaking of sharing it, some people leave reviews, as Daniel mentioned earlier. And there is one left of reviews that we haven't read of our podcast. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you
read
send
it
a
now.
review, we will read it out. That's another thing. If that's not entirely clear because of what Tim's doing, if you review the podcast, it will probably get read out.
So this latest review is from Cameron7011 via Apple Podcasts in Great Britain. It was on the 16th of December 2019, so relatively recently, about 3 months ago. It's a 5-star review, so thank you very much, Cameron. Great podcast.
Thank you.
And then in the description it goes, really great podcast. So we're
hell,
just
got
climbing it.
upgraded.
Yeah.
And then in the description for that, really, really great podcast.
Oh, it's a glass case of emotions.
Really great. Really great podcast that has inspired me in all sorts of ways. Keep up the good work, lads.
Oh,
thanks, Cameron. We
thank you.
definitely
Thank
will.
you very
Glad
much.
that it's helping
Thank you so much.
right, because there's just it's great. It's the most fun thing to do is writing stuff for a game and be like, I can't wait until they all die. And I can prove how smart I am.
If you guys could take anything from D&D, take this. If you're DM, you have to kill your players. That's the facts.
That's
true.
been a pretty consistent message throughout our podcast here. So
We actually do sell a very high lethality of D&D.
Yeah.
We kind of do.
Way, which is interesting because like our games don't necessarily have very high body counts. I mean, yours do, Mikey, but the rest of us don't.
Well,
yeah, mine classically, I've killed a lot of players, and because of that, a lot of my characters died. Like
because
weird,
because of the great wheel of
karmatic.
karma. Yeah,
yeah. But that is another story.
but that is another story.
Well, yeah, there you go. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Next time we'll talk about more dragons.
Yeah.
I have been Mikey.
I have been Tim.
And I've been Dan.
Stay.
He did it. He said
He said it. He said the thing.
I always say the thing.
I don't know what to do with him.
And this is the Black Dragons episode.
Yes.
Just to let you guys know that what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be go like, oh, it's Treasure Trove Part 2. Real
Oh shit!
Oh, it's
Sneaky.
Villain Squad Part 7. Also,
Curveball.
it's your boy, Dickmaster69.
Buttman 69.
Putman69. Why is it always Putman with you?
Go for it, Dan.
Your own time.
Hello and welcome to.
You should
Creature
clear your
Club.
throat again.
It's a come on, man.
Oh my god. That has to be one of the cheekiest ones that we've had so far.
That's actual cheek. That's actual cheek.
Pure cheek.
There's been once or
Infinity
twice
Portal.
where I've interrupted Daniel, but like that's just
Yeah, that was
was cheeky.
I remember. That was it was the best when it was accidental, and like I was like, the fuck is wrong with you? I'm sorry.
But there was one that you did it though, where you just like that
Yeah.
Billie Eilish song, and I was like, what the hell, man?
Yep. Pure chaos.
We're all guilty.
all right,
That's
I'm
the
sorry.
important stuff. We're all guilty.
Throw us at the end after credits.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Shall I read the next section?
Yes.
Sure.
Brutal
Yes.
and cruel. All chromatic dragons are evil.
Yes, get on with it.
Get on
with it.
Brutal and cruel. All chromatic dragons are
Simple and
evil.
clean.
Daniel.
Do you guys remember Kingdom Hearts?
Sorry.
That's all.
Well,
Where are we going with this?
Didn't say anything.